What is good, my people? We are live back with another live episode of the forecast. Yeah, I'm coming back to holler at y'all. I'm not gonna be on here too long tonight. Um, if y'all, a lot of people hit me up and they say, they want me to go back to the old content. I still have the content that you're used to, but you gotta subscribe to the Forecast Radio 24. It's in the description, and every time I drop a new video, it's going to be on that channel. I only put it on this channel every once in a while because YouTube is hating. And I definitely want to let y'all know that I'm still gonna be putting in the work. I'm still gonna be here doing what I gotta do. But even though, things might get a little crazy, and I gotta say shout out to the ancestors, and I gotta say shout out to my dad, and hopefully everything is looking good. So you know, but I definitely wanted to come on and holler at y'all. So y'all can call, and the number is 804-601-4015. Now you can see by the title, the power of life and death is in your tongue. And when you start to understand the power that you have over your own personal reality, and I talked a lot about it on the last live I did, us facing the self accountability within ourselves, within our own communities, right? Understanding what kind of trauma is ours and what has been beaten into us. And I want to come back on here and really talk about what I was going to talk about the other day. And this is the whole mindset and the whole psychology behind the psychopathic system that was created. And they show you right in your face how they gaslight you, how they know the truth, but they tell you that your truth is wrong. How you feel is invalid, but you can't listen to any of that. And I don't know if y'all heard about that the black farmers are getting some kind of relief package for all of the discrimination that they've been faced with. Like every 8 out of 10 black farmers is denied loans. They've done everything to take the land from every black person that they possibly could. And we already know about the racism in each individual subject. So now, a little bit at a time, they're going to try to short change us and then say, this was your reparations. And, right now they have given who knows how much money, all of these institutions that have been okay with slavery, sharecropping, another form of slavery, right? Even the modern day form of slavery that they still have. But as soon as these black farmers started getting at least a promise of having some kind of compensation, it always triggers the soft sensibilities of white supremacy. And those people are always going to come and try to take whatever you got. Now, these farmers are only getting really 5 billion or whatever, which they got to split with Asians, Hispanics, right, Latino, Mexican, right, Hawaiian, anybody you can think of. They have to split this little bit of money that they're getting. But do you know who they're actually suing? They're suing the black farmers. They don't want you to have the ability to grow your own food. Now, this shows you how much they target you, as much as they try to deny it, as much as they try to play politics and all of that. Because recently, I don't know if y'all seen it, but a few months ago, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama went on this tour where now all of a sudden they stand on a certain side with reparations. All of a sudden they understand why black people could get reparations. But back in 2007, 2008, when he was talking about, yes, we need to make a change for America, when they asked him about black reparations, he started talking about schools in Carolina. Now you ask him, 7 years out of office, what do you think about black reparations? And he says, oh, theoretically, I think black people should. Right? And he said, I couldn't speak on it because of basically white backlash. Like how he said that he was a black man and had to apologize for that. How he stood up for Trayvon Martin, said his son would look like that, which he would. Wasn't even a lie, but he had to apologize for that. Now, this is the president of America. You have people with more money than they could ever spend in their life. But if they say something about the wrong community, even if it's in defense of themselves, they got to go on a lifetime apology tour. So it can't be the power, the office of the presidency, because the man had to wait 5 years after he got out of office to even speak on the subject. Can't be money, because if somebody like LeBron James, who's apparently adored until they want him to shut up and dribble, if he speaks about a kid getting shot in his own community, is a problem. And now Kyrie Irving, right? Everything he says is a problem, right? Because he's more focused on issues that affect him every single day, no matter how much money he got. You got people on TV every day trying to make it look like he's crazy for that, or he's somehow wrong for being black first, or whatever he is first. And they're trying to make him apologize. But if it's not the office of president, if it's not, office of presidency or any kind of political office, if it's not money, what is it that is truly power? What would give you actual power? Now, you being able to grow your own food and to sustain yourself, right? Not to mention all of the stuff that they're putting in our food that's killing us, because that's something else that we had to address in our community. The unhealthy lifestyles that we have, right? How our parents get diabetes and die far before they talk about. They're supposed to. But see, they're going to make sure that these black farmers don't have the ability to sustain themselves, right? And every year you see the number of black farmers decreasing, when that's one of the most vital things. Because if you have to go to your enemy to get your food, right, then that's total control. And the USDA, who has had a long history of racism, of discrimination, of hating on their own people, And and I know the thing about YouTube, it's no telling how many people really watch this. And really, you can go through my videos and look at the views, how my channel was growing and growing, right? Getting more and more views. And then all of a sudden, it just started getting less and less and less. But the subscribers kept going up. But they always keep taking subscribers away, right? People even say that, they unsubscribe me from your channel. And there's no telling how many people actually listen to us, because of course they're going to try to keep us out of the algorithm for what we are saying. Because when you talk about truth to power, that's a whole different subject. Because if people start getting that truth to power about how we need to go on a mission to support these black farmers and have more black farmers, teach our kids to grow and control our own foods, they're not going to want that message to get across. Because then, right, the amount of money, because they can make you apologize if you're a billionaire. They can make you apologize if you're the president. But now if you controlling your own food, you controlling your own land, you controlling your own environment, that's a whole different ball game. What's going on, brother Bakari? But yeah, I was just speaking about how YouTube likes to hate on our channels too. And it's obvious, it's like blatant, right? And you can see the proof in itself. The subscribers go up, but the views go down, and it makes no sense. But it makes perfect sense, because if we start spreading a message about how the struggle is for black farmers in the situation that they're in, that we are in, right? Once you start controlling that and controlling your own food, then that's a whole different ball game, right? How can they come to you? How can they do anything, right? They can't starve your community if you can feed yourself. You don't need anybody else. And we don't seem to put two and two together, that the lands that we are in is the most naturally resource filled places that there is. But see, they get so disrespectful that when the police pull you over, they'll dump your loved one's ashes on the street just to laugh at you. Now, see, that's psychotic behavior, and they'll do anything to stay in that position. They need you to have this negative self image, this negative self reflection, to think that what you are saying is a victim mentality when somebody is actually victimizing you. That's like a bully punching in your face, taking your lunch money, and telling you don't cry, don't react, don't do anything about it because you're weak if you do. That's what they want you to believe, because the power that you have is in the mindset that you have. But if you're afraid that you're not going to be able to eat, you are being reduced to your primal survival instincts. And we don't know about a lot of the issues in our community because they're not going to televise it. But now all of these banks that have been getting bailed out by our tax money, because they will take our tax money and use it for whatever, but we don't even feel that we are worthy of asking a racist person to at least consider that, to stop taking our tax money, right? But now that all of these banks or whatever, they are saying that it's going to cost them money to issue these payouts to these black farmers, right? The same banks that got all of these payouts by President Obama, right? Because he could do that while he was in office. He can go to Israel and give them reparations while he was in office, but he could not acknowledge the fact that you deserved it while he was in office. But he can do it now when he feel like, oh, there's nothing else they can do to me. Because they have to keep you in that position where you feel weak and helpless. Like, oh, if I do it, then I may get in trouble. Well, guess what? You're already in trouble. What else can they do to you? They've taken everything from you already. What, you won't be successful in European standards? It's time to start creating your own standards, because you know what European standards are? They give people like Dylan Roof a chance to go back and plead insanity, right? The white boy, crazy psychopath, set up in there, killed all of them people, went to court and said, I know what I did and I did it on purpose. And now, all of these years later, he's coming back to say that he's not insane. Well, he's not insane. He's a psychopath. Psychopaths know what they're doing. And this society will show you exactly where they stand. Because they were trying to get him to plead that, but he refused at first. This place is nothing but a corporation. And this white boy can go into a church where people are praying to whatever and get shot while they're praying. And this white boy is proud of it. And they take him to Burger King. And now, more than likely, they're going to let him plead insanity. Because America shows you time and time again, their officials, their top whatever, officers, whatever, they show you they stand with their killers. They stand with their psychopaths, right? Whatever defends whiteness. But see, we can literally be shot and the dude have no sympathy and said, I did it to start a race war. I hate you niggas. And we're apologizing to him, basically, forgiving him. How you gonna forgive somebody that didn't ask for your forgiveness? Didn't even apologize. But see, that's the power that you have in yourself. Because if you sitting there apologizing and hugging a white woman in court who killed your brother, that gives the signal that it's okay to murder you because you ain't gonna do nothing about it. That tells me I can do the worst things imaginable and you're gonna do nothing but hug and kiss me. But see, when you start talking, we're not gonna take it no more. When you start getting on that level that they're on, right? All of a sudden, that's a problem because you're speaking life into yourself. Self-defense is speaking life into yourself. But forgiving somebody who don't even want your forgiveness in the first place and who do the same thing over and over, that's speaking death into yourself. That's saying you have a low self-esteem, a low self-worth. And now this white boy can take all the stuff that he did back, even though he stood on it, even though it was what they call virtue signaling. He can take it all back in this corporation of America because they've bought in to their system. right? They found a way to trick their poor people to be a part of their system, and for us to try to fit in with their poor people. There's a reason why they don't want you to learn your history, and they go out of the way to ban history, your history, and teach you all lies that people know without a shadow of a doubt is lies, but they're teaching you that in school. They're teaching you to speak death for yourself. Hey, what's going on? And by the way, you can call in. The number is 804-601-4015. Like, people don't see something wrong with that teaching blatant falsehoods in schools. These people have always been liars, but if you know they violated every single treaty, you gonna start thinking, why should I go to them to ask somebody else for a law? If you realize the people that have been successful actually stood up, and no matter how many weapons they've had, they've usually had success. Because the power is in you. The power is in how you think of yourself, how you speak about yourself, and how you feel about and think about and speak about this system. Now you see, they can use people like Barack Obama, and I honestly didn't vote for him either time. His first run as presidency. Oh, the first time he became president, I probably should have voted for him. That was my first time I was eligible to vote. Probably should have did it for the culture, but I didn't, because it's obvious to see. Exactly, to forgive your brothers and sisters and not your enemy. But got us on a program where we don't forgive our brothers and sisters, but we only forgive our enemies. And we call it love. You have to love your enemy. But the thing about that is, you can't love nobody else if you don't love yourself. And you can't love yourself if you allow people to violate your boundaries and disrespect you and harm you in any way that they feel like it. You don't know that you're speaking death upon yourself by justifying it, by allowing it, by not stopping it. See, we get into this mentality where we're probably scared they're going to shut us down. They're going to do this. They've done it all. But you don't realize, you talking like that, you standing up for yourself, is speaking life into yourself. You can't have fear. You have to get that fear out of your heart. And now, the black farmers that are trying to get this little bit of money that they got to split with every other group, right? People of color, right? But they people of color have specific things for themselves. But if you do it, they tell you you're selfish, right? That's only a psychopath would tell you you're selfish for not doing it their way, but then they turn around and get what they want. But they made it a specific object to target the black farmers out of all of these groups. They said it is not fair for them to get any kind of money and white farmers aren't. Now, we're going to ignore this whole history of white farmers getting billions, trillions of dollars. What's going on, Al? But they're bringing this lawsuit. And the thing is, right, because it's usually all smoke and mirrors. What they always tell you is, we're going to study something. We're going to this. We're going to that. When they've gone out of the way to destroy your history, right? And this is a part of trying to break you down, make you scared to stand up for yourself. They not only kill our leaders, they try to erase them from history. But it's easy for somebody to maintain control when they can maintain control of your food supply. Right? And it's not only discrimination in every single market, like the housing market and anything you can name, but it's dangerous for you to start having self autonomy in any single way, because you can have millions of dollars, pieces of paper with dead people that would have killed you on them. Oh yeah, thank you, Shanique. And y'all can call in too, by the way. I'm just on here talking. I just wanted to come on here and holler at y'all. But see, Barack Obama had the opportunity to do this while he was in office, and when asked why didn't he said that there would have been a white outrage. White people would have fought back and it would have got nowhere. Now, this is the quote unquote liberals, this is the quote unquote Republicans. None of this stuff have anything to do with us. All of that stuff is talking points. And don't even feed into those talking points. Because you'll start to see, when you start ignoring all of that, you drive them even crazier. We have this constant need to explain our situation, explain why we don't deserve what we deserve. We don't have to explain nothing. We are human beings. Somebody with no empathy is never going to care how much you explain. You can talk to your blue in the face, and Lord knows we have. What's going on, brother guy? Right. They've been sold all of the worst stuff, the worst, the tractors, right? They complain where the white farmers, they want, when they, like places like John Deere, they'll come out and repair their stuff. But for black farmers, they'll take weeks because they want them out of business, right? It's a whole system. And we talk about a leader, but they create systems. If the president is shot right now, somebody else is going to take his place, right? But the problem with most of our movements, and they try to make us individual mindset. If somebody shoot Martin Luther King, then his movement is over. And we start to get into that low vibration of fear. And that vibration itself is speaking death unto yourself. But see, no matter what they tell you, and that's how you can know that they're lying, because as soon as it's the other way around, then they have a problem. They're out here suing you before they even get a dollar, right? They're telling them, making those false promises, right? He got the black farmers, Joe Biden got the black farmers to endorse him because of those false promises. And when they do give you something, it's always technology. But Barack Obama, I tell you, what's going on Pelage? Barack Obama, I tell you, theoretically, yes, black people deserve reparations. in every aspect of life. But see, us being on code is us having black farmers back, especially in the area of something as important as your food, right? It's a reason why they can make you apologize no matter what political office you got. They can make you apologize no matter how much money you got. Even if you compliment them, just don't speak their name or you're going to have to apologize. See, when you start getting that kind of energy, then you start speaking life into your name. But guess what? You deserve the most respect. You're the only one that pulled yourself up by your own bootstraps in this country. But they won't tell you that. See, that's why they want to ban teaching you any kind of history. They can only teach you death when most of our history has been celebrating life. But see, we taking cues from psychopaths who can only focus on death and destruction. Right? They came from environments of lack, from environments of poverty, and they can lack that emotion. Right? They'll have systems for themselves to make sure that their legacy passes on, that they continue to stay in power, and they teach their children every single day how to stay in power. But then make you send your children to school to learn how to stay serving the people in power, to make them be employees. But see, if you ever lose your job, it don't matter how good you were, they'll replace you in a day. They can do whatever they want to do anytime they want to do it. Yo, I appreciate you, Pelage. I appreciate that, my brother. And by the way, y'all can call in. I'm just on here ranting for real. The number 804-601-4015. Exactly. Yeah, they're never going to give you a thing that you benefit from. But see, this is why we got to get to the point where we speak life into ourselves, to the point where we don't fear death. Because it's not only are have they taken what you have built, not only will they not quote unquote give you anything like what you earn, if you try to get what you deserve, if you go out there and build what you deserve, if you go out there and take what you deserve, they're going to fight you every step of the way to stop you. Right? See, we can easily be right now saying, okay, we've built this whole community. See, this is where we got to start getting ourselves, our communities, understanding how the world works, understanding our enemies and accepting it for what it is. Everybody is not like you. All right. From Hello?
Brother Forecast, what's going on, my brother?
Yo, what's going on, brother Pelage? What's going on, bro?
Yeah, not much, man. Yeah, it's Pelage, man. I always have to. I know I miss some of you live, but I know what you're talking about, and I always appreciate you, my brother. I missed last week, but sometimes I'm gonna miss you live, but I appreciate the information. Okay. I don't care if you do this every day. Talk about the same thing every day. It inspires me, because what you're talking about is very real, is very serious. Um, Black people is going to be we're gonna be put into a corner. We're gonna have to be forced, kind of like Black Wall Street and other like successful Black cities back in the days where there was segregation. We only had to deal with ourselves. We were forced to live with ourselves, love ourselves, And when we stay together, when we link up, we know we are great. And we are great. We built the entire world. We civilized the entire world. Okay? Um, but somehow, for over 6,000 years ago, the Arabs and the Europeans, again, the Arabs taught the Europeans, you know, with, about their slavery. The Europeans just did it better than we, better than them. Um, so, without black people, again, and if we decided not to go to the Olympics, represent Africa and stuff like that, we could crash economies, we could crash the world's economy, not just in American economy. But it's hard, brother Focus. I'm gonna get a little personal about my family. Like, trauma is real. Slavery have affected us, black people globally. Okay, that whole Christianity, that whole Bible, thing. It's an allegory. Some of the stories are true. It's our story. What the Europeans did is they just copied and plagiarized their story and give it right back to us and to enslave us with that. You know what I mean? And it's hard. I love my black brothers and sisters, but it's very difficult because we have this self-hate. It's not our fault. I've talked to you about this, several times. I said, many of us not going to make it. We're not going to make it because I don't know, man. It's sad, but, the first rule of nature, is self-preservation. I want to be around people like you who wants to free ourselves, who wants to make a difference. And to me, I've told you this again too, Africa is the end game. From Haiti originally, I am sad by what's happening down there. My village is being overrun by Europeans as we're speaking. And none of my brothers and sisters, none of my family members, uncles, and people, we're not doing anything about it. We are brainwashed. I guess we don't care. My grandpa's grave, sisters and cousins, grandma, are just like encroached on by the Europeans, the lack of disrespect. Also, brother Focus, you still with me, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. Also, brother Focus, I will say, and like I said, I appreciate. Honestly, though, I have to give you another thank you again, man. Thank you for having this channel, and thank you for giving people just a place to release some good, energy and some frustration to my brother. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because we need that, man. We need that. I'm just, for an example, I don't know if you know who Kwame Brown is. Okay, you probably do. He, played for the Wizards or what have you. He's 39 years old. Obviously, he's taking over the internet right now and stuff like that. I was watching one of his lives with Judge Phil Brown. There was 45,000 people was on his live. He's just taking over the internet. Instead for us to embrace that idea, embrace him, we tearing him down. Stephen A. Smith, all the black people, Stephen Jackson. And because the thing is, though, he's saying some valid points. With Sheldon the Breakfast Club, and I went to Chicago visiting my family last week. I was listening to how Sheldon the God was dissing him. It's okay if you're a boss. To me, Jalen Rose is saying, like, he's not a boss. He's, like, been in the league for almost, like, 13 years, made, like, roughly close to $70 million. I mean, yeah, he might not be LeBron James or Michael Jordan or Magic Bird, but the thing is, though, we tear people down. I'm tired of this drama with black people globally. We, like, you know, it's just so-and-so is going to expose this. So-and-so is doing this. They're twerking. They're this and that. They're nonsense. They're challenges and all that stuff. And, you know, but at the same time where we are being destroyed in the street, we are being poisoned through the water, poisoned through the food, poisoned this and poisoned that, messy the education, you know? That's why I say some of us are not going to make it. Okay? Because, you know, at the end of the day, you know what I told my father. I talked with him yesterday. It was very hard for me. You know, I feel like it's myself versus my family. In my opinion, I've been here for almost nearly 30 years. I was very young when I left Haiti, but it's just like culturally, there's like this huge disconnect. But you know, you should know how to respect people. That this shouldn't be a culture thing. It's just respect is respect.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I am going to use myself for an example. I'm very emotional right now, brother. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you why. Because we let Harriet Tubman down. We let Malcolm X down. We let Martin Luther King down. Look at us. They didn't have Twitter. They didn't have YouTube. They didn't have Facebook. You know, I'm ashamed of myself. I am. I'm ashamed of myself. What they went through. And this is how we were paying them. By the drama, by this, by that. You know, you and I know black people ain't no thugs. I'm sorry, I'm like, you know, my speech sometimes get a little silly, but we're not thugs. What do we own? A true thug can commit a crime and get away with it. A true thug can go and slave the people for over 6,000 years. A true thugs tell you what to do, tell you where to go and when to go. Its true thugs can create a pandemic globally. You tell me. You know, let me invoke Breonna Taylor's name. It's not a disrespect. When she got murdered, did we avenge her? Did we went and do an investigation? No. Trayvon Martin, no. Did we avenge that unjust killing? We didn't.
Right, yeah, definitely, my brother. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Man, listen, man. I want you to talk. I want you to flow, man. And you know, I'm with a bunch of energy, and I think you're getting used to me by now. I'm all over the place. I come with love, man. I come with peace, man. You know, I really do. I really do, man. But like, I am just saddened. I am very disgusted by all of us. But I love all of us, my brother. Understand, follow my drift why I say that. You know, my lack of, you know, because like, we are not building wealth. We are not doing this. We are not doing any of that stuff. But we go on Facebook. You know, I was discriminated at a restaurant. I was this, I was that. I mean, we have to figure it out. We have to figure it out. Do we want to stay here? Or do we want to go to the motherland? Because, like, you know, at the end of the day, we're not going to get reparation. We are not going to get it. It's always, oh, we're going to study it. Oh, we're going to do this. But at the same time, there's an executive, or Joe Biden signing an executive order for the Asian for hate crimes and stuff like that. And you have like Barack Obama who's saying like, my hands were tied. You see, I couldn't do anything. But he did sign that blue, that blue light, that police, blue lights thing, executive order and stuff like that. But he's in the sky, but he just didn't want to help us. So, man, I can go for hours and hours and hours. But you know what, man? I appreciate you. Like, we need less drama. We need, what I want to say though, I condemn, there are some sick people out there. There are some sick Black people out there. Charmin de God, to me, he admit drugging this girl. To me, he should be under the jail cell. Because, like, he admit everything. He admit all that stuff. And, you have other people who's defending him. But, at the end of the day, right is right, wrong is wrong. I stand with people who want to liberate themselves, who's on the side of justice, okay, who has common sense, okay, who know that we are enslaved globally. Brother Focus, thank you for listening to my rant. And, at the end of the day, man, we are too complacent. We need to get out. We are asleep right now, okay? And I appreciate it. And I'm sorry for being so long-winded, man. I just appreciate what you're putting out there, man. And all I hope people can contribute to you, and I hope people can just like I said, man, if I have a lot of money, obviously I would hook you up, man. I try to do what I can when I can, okay? Yeah, so take care, my brother, okay? I'm gonna go back and listen to you. All right?
All right, definitely, my brother. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the call, and I appreciate you showing me some love and all of that, So definitely let you speak your piece. But yeah, like you were saying, you mentioned a lot of stuff, and like one thing, they talked about the Haiti and they won't do anything, but really, that's the cognitive dissonance talking, right? Your soul, your energy knows you don't deserve to be in this place, but everything that you see, everything that's around you, all of that stuff that's been put in your head makes you think that you deserve this, right? That's you knowing that you don't, but you're fighting yourself. You're pulling yourself in two different directions. And we have a sick cognitive dissonance. That's why people like Kwame Brown, and that shows you that energy is a energy and it's not a particular person, right? When Kwame Brown started speaking the truth, it resonated with people. And you see how quickly and how many people are on his lives, are watching them, are listening, because he speaks valid points, a lot of valid points, right? Because they always bring him up as a symbol of failure, as a Black man being a symbol of failure. They won't bring up somebody like Darko Milicic, who got drafted over Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade. They won't bring that person up. All right. Brother Bakari.
What's going on, my man?
What's going on, my brother?
I'm listening to your show. I'm listening to the other call. Now I see the title, "The Power of Life or Death is in the Tongue." Mm-hmm. That's a great title, and I agree with that. It is in the tongue, and most of the time, and just to be honest, social media has exposed Black people to the whole world, the way we feel about one another. And when we talk about one another, we're speaking death. When we're talking about other people, we're speaking power. We are talking about we talk a lot about what somebody won't do for us, right? Mm-hmm. I will mention it, but in the process of me mentioning it, I want you to see they don't do nothing, so we have to do it. But we are almost like children to this system. We are mad that people in this system don't like us, and we continue to complain. They won't do this for us. They won't do this for us, but they gave it to everybody else. After all these years, and they have never done it for us, and they still give it to everybody else, why do we still complain about it? Unless we're going to mention it to show what we need to do for ourselves. But that's very rarely shown by these bigger YouTube channels, right? The bigger YouTube, when I say speak deaf, we love to call one another the N-word on YouTube. I was listening to this one. I ain't gonna call nobody's name. There's one channel, and he calling people the N-word, and somebody called in and asked him about it. That's how he talked to his people. But when he talk about everybody else, he won't say no racist slurs about nobody else because he has said before that they might turn his channel. He don't want to get any flags. You understand what I'm saying? We don't respect one another, but at the same time that we don't respect one another, we want to look and complain because other people don't respect us, right? Because other people don't do nothing for us. Why would anyone else do something for you when you won't do anything for yourself? And I'm just saying, they're not going to do it. Regardless if we do for ourselves or not, they're not going to do it. Their goal, they brought us here. We came here as a slave, enslaved, in chattel slavery, right? They came here as the ship builder, slave owner, the overseer, the straw boss. And that's a system that they created. And they want to keep that same system going. And we're almost like, we're still asking them, why don't they feed us? We're hungry. We're this. We're that. And we're constantly looking outside of ourselves and searching for everyone else to help us or have allies or do whatever with everybody except ourselves. So when you say the power of life or death is in the tongue, we speak power into what they call them the dominant society. If a group of people is the dominant society, what will we be? The dominated society? I'm asking. Because if they call one people the dominant society, wouldn't we be the dominated society then?
Yeah, white supremacy is defined by black inferiority.
Exactly, and that's what I call it. Is it truly white supremacy, or is it black inferiority? Or do black people see themselves being inferior? And when you mention Kwame Brown mentioned some things that I stand with, and what I do stand with is how the media, the black media, the people working for ESPN and seeing all that, won't mention any white players that will bust. These black players, they won't talk about them the way they talk about black people. They won't. But that's how they get in their check.
Yeah.
That's how they get in their check. So that would make them the dominant society, and that's what makes us the dominated society, I guess. But when you think about it, right, we also dominate ourselves. We will stand on the corners. I own this block, but we don't own none of these stores. We see ourselves as weak. And we may not have as much money as a whole as other groups of people, but other groups of people build themselves up by spending their money with one another. Nobody else. There's not another group of people in this country or nowhere on earth that will let somebody else come into their community or their country and control it. But since we're here in this country, so in our communities, and absolutely control all the finances, the money that's coming in our community. They dump their businesses and take our money. Don't even hire you. But we still go to them and we still figure out a way to make it be okay. We still figure out a way to make it be okay. We don't want to make that sacrifice and drive past a Hanjin Chinese restaurant. We don't want to make that sacrifice and drive past our pool, the East Indian. We don't want to make that sacrifice and drive past Habib, the Arab. We don't want to search for our people and spend our money with them. And if we want things to get better, in all honesty, those are the things that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to make sacrifices. We're going to have to be willing to say, I'm going to just drive past you. But if we're not willing to do that, the way people drive, everybody else drive past back there. Excuse me, like it's nothing. It's so common where we drive past black business like it's nothing. You understand? So the power of the life and death on the tongue has become the mentality now. You understand? It's become a mentality. Do you hear other people sit down and talk about, well, black businesses do this and black businesses do that? I went to this brother the other day, I'm going to say this, to look something to get this truck. It's a bigger truck. I need this bigger box truck for what I'm doing, right? And I'll come to buy the truck. In the whole, this is a black guy. And all he did was talk about how black businesses have screwed him over. I'm like, what the hell they got to do with me? I'm trying to buy a truck. I'm trying to buy this truck that you have at a good price. What that got to do with me about the black plumber took your money and didn't come back? Or the electrician took your money and didn't come back? That have nothing to do with me. Those businesses don't represent me. Sell me the truck. That's all I want is the truck. I didn't even want to hear all of that. You understand?
Yeah.
But that's our mindset now. We don't speak that way of other people. And I'm not saying you have to speak that way of other people to build yourself up. Because I really don't care about other people. They're not my top 5, top 10 choices is black, 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 black. Then some, I don't think about them. So you don't have to speak about other people a certain way to build yourself up. You just have to speak positive and speak life into ourselves. Speak with respect about us. Speak with respect and love and be willing to protect and provide for our women and our children and our elderly. That's a problem to us, it seems like. But bro, I just wanted to call in and say that.
Yeah. I appreciate
well, listen offline now. Thank you for taking my call, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, my brother.
Peace.
All right. Yeah, and you know, like my brother Bakari was saying, you know, supporting ourselves, and my homegirl, y'all can hit me up if y'all want to be involved. She putting together a pledge where she you know, won't get her nails done or hair done or whatever, and do it herself and save that money and invest it back into our community where we can spread it. And you know, she probably listening. She could call in if she want to explain it or whatever. But you know, the brother Bakari is absolutely right. You know, because it's just like with YouTube, they're going to stifle your ability to speak. There's no telling how many people are listening to our channels, are watching our channels because they like to mess with our channels, right? They go out of their way to take away the views that you have to make you think that. And you know, the brother mentioned a lot of stuff about how, you know, other groups, you can't speak on other groups or whatever without having to apologize, but that's because you're afraid to speak life into yourself, right? You go to these other shops, but if you understood, this is why they try to keep you from history, right? See, you got to start thinking on a whole nother level. If these people hate you, if you know that these people are psychopaths and see you as less than, right? If you know that they can put stuff in your food, if you know that they can poison you, if you know that they can run experiments on you, what makes you think if you go to their restaurants or their places that don't want to serve you in the first place, they're not spitting in your food? They're not doing all of this other stuff. See, we like to hold black businesses at a certain level because we start looking at life through a European lens. And see, we don't add in the whole fact that most of these businesses got their money, even modern businesses that get loans, because the government was built off of our labor, was built off of our hard work. And I know the brother Pelage don't believe we'll get reparations, but the thing is, we will. Our ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears will not go in vain, but it has to be when you are ready to take it. And you see, is a cognitive dissonance because it's really a fear. We're scared to speak out. We're scared to say what we have to say. But when somebody does speak out, so many people are quick to rally around them. And see, that's how you know it's not love. And you can't come from a low vibration and raise yourself up and take action from that state of mind. But that state of mind, and this is why I say I'm not as hard on Coons as other people, because I look at them as victims. They're victims of the system of white supremacy. How is it white supremacy? Because they control what schools you go to. They can tell you what to do with your children. If a cop pull you over, right, you got your son as a grown man, you can't do nothing but do what he say. He can violate your rights, and that has an effect on the child's mind, right? See, speaking life, speaking the power of life into yourself, or speaking the power of death into yourself, it's about actions, not just your words. Because if your words aren't lining up with your actions, then you're not in alignment and you're not doing anything and you're running on a treadmill. See, that's what we think we're doing. We're running on a treadmill, trying to do the same things over and over, banging our head against the wall. That's called insanity. That's what insanity is. But see, we look at it as something inherently wrong with us, and that's all by design. None of that is by accident. A psychopath wants you to believe there's something wrong with you. How else can they feel superior if you think that you're not inferior? They need you to feel inferior. All of this is by design. Right? 2 black people hanging out together, 3 people hanging out together was illegal. And to this day, they call you a gang. But see, they have no problem worshiping their psychopathic ancestors. Can you tell me what the difference between Hitler and George Washington, or Thomas Jefferson, or Christopher Columbus? And see, we accept that cognitive dissonance, right? A part of being in America was accepting the way of the Englishman. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be all right. But it's been 400, 500 years now. We see that don't work. Because when somebody actions don't line up with their words, that's how you can see their true character. Because people is always going to tell on themselves. And it's that cognitive dissonance. And right, see, some people think that paycheck, getting pieces of paper with dead people that would have killed you, is enough to speak death on others, and you think it don't affect you. That's why I never really got why the people always sold out the slaves.
Call from.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Tatiana?
Nothing much. You on the live, right?
Yeah, I'm on live right now.
Why you sound upset?
No, I'm all right. Yeah, I was just saying what's up.
Oh, maybe because you was in the mode.
Yeah.
You know, and, anyways, I'm on the live, right?
Yeah, you on.
Okay. That's hard for me to tell. But anyways, I just wanted to chime in too. And for real, kind of speak from the perception of we really need to
have more self-discipline and self-awareness, because it's like at this point in time, we've seen a lot, and it's like, what is it going to take for everyone to kind of make efforts? Because it's going to take all of us to make efforts. Not just me and you and other people that try to put the right words out into the world, but it's going to take everybody to make an effort. A lot of people on standby because they're content and satisfied with the way their life is going. But it's like, okay, you do have family, that's impacted because they're Black, so everyone needs to kind of have some standards. We live in, like you said, on the treadmill with a carrot, right in front of us, and constantly doing the same things. We always complain about, not wanting to work for nobody, but we not really putting the effort to try something different, And I don't blame, a lot of people for being scared, because, there's been nothing but a lot of failure, a lot of judgment towards us, period, trying to get into the business world. I've been trying for a minute, and I've seen and learned different things. So I can understand being scared of failure, but that's what gives you experience. And experience is, the best teacher, versus, just reading a book. So we just have to put in a little bit more effort and actually try new things and actually push for change. We can't just sit back and complain and blame this person, blame that person. It's time for us to really put that work in, because when I have my kids, I don't want them to to kind of to have to go through the fears that we going through now. Especially for Black men. I have a special place in my heart for all of them, just because it's like, I feel like us women, we kind of get a small pass, being a woman. But I know it's even harder for y'all, because imagine when all y'all do come together and really make the moves and things that y'all need to do for us, because we need each other. Just like y'all need us to be better people, we need y'all to be better people, and we need each other. We want y'all at the end of the day, but it's like, unfortunately, it's the way we all express ourselves, we always come off as angry, So we got to kind of treat each other, with more respect, and really start putting in that work. Stop complaining.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's what I've been kind of thinking about lately. Is this is really just time for each individual to be doing something outside of what they doing, what they close relatives, because, and I mean like a family, dude, female, and their kids. Because like I said, a lot of people feel content and like, oh, we're good, but y'all not really good, because unless we all not good, as a people, to be okay living in the world that we live in, we're targeted. That's not safe,
Yeah, absolutely. That's well said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and tell them about your pledge or whatever.
Say what?
Tell them about your pledge.
Well, yeah, with the pledge, the goal is to get as much as people as possible. But the way that I've kind of calculated how we can do it, where each person would at the end of the day have ownership in something and see a return sooner than later, is, getting at least, 200 people on the project. And, you can kind of choose which project, or we can do it to where, let's the majority of the vote goes to that first project. And since a lot of people, we kind of all struggling right now, pledge something. So for me, the best example is my nails. Like, I've been getting my nails done since I was 16, always going into a shop, where, it's nothing but Chinese people or Korean, Vietnamese working, and me seeing nothing but mainly black people in the shop. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't look right anymore to me. It's like, damn, like, we're their market. Like, why don't we have the stores that we constantly and consistently go and shop at and spend our money? So that was kind of a smart way to me to kind of get the money back circling between us, since we naturally go there. So I'm like, okay, a nail salon would be great to have. Let's, all pledge something, whether it's your hair, whatever you find yourself spending money on that can wait, that you can kind of go without, that you don't need. Go ahead, take that money and put it in monthly into this bank account where we will all be able to see and view. I'm not trying to take nobody's money. I'm not even really doing it to make money. I'm putting this effort in without getting paid. So it's more so me wanting to see everyone else come up in a structured way. So I feel like it provides a structure where we don't have to wonder what's going to happen, and we kind of already know it's only one way to go with this. It's not rocket science. And then with my experience, I'm very creative, so it's really easy for me to see, okay, kind of compare things and make it different, make it unique, so it can pop. But everyone would kind of put in that monthly pledge, and at the end of 1 year, based on 200 people, at least $30 a month, we'd be able to open, depending on the business, 1 to 2 of them, and after that, multiply from there. And that's really the goal, to get more businesses owned by us. And again, at the end of the year, you got ownership in that business, and you barely did anything. So it's like you can't go wrong with it. And just to see us have more ownership and then more jobs, because we wouldn't hire nothing but us in there to work just like they do. So it's not like we being racist. They don't hire outside their culture. So don't feel like we doing something that we shouldn't be doing. We owe it to ourselves to have a sisterhood, brotherhood with each other, and build the communities that we need to be able to live peacefully and in a less stressful way. Like, I'm just tired of seeing what's going on, especially with the shit that's been going on. Like, doesn't it anger you? Like, aren't you kind of mad about all these stories you hear and see? So this is me doing my part to try to help us.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad you called in, for real.
Yeah, of course. I know now I'm feeling more kind of late. It just dawned on me. I'm like, damn, let me just go to the channel. I'm asking you this topic, and I could have just came.
Yeah, I meant to text you back, but I'm gonna hit you back when I'm done. I'm probably gonna be done in a little while.
All right, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm proud of my sister. She's taking matters into her own hands and doing what she has to do, and she's always found a way to make it work. And it's kind of like the plan that I usually talk about. Oh yeah, definitely. And that's Brother Bakari. You can like text me or email me. I'll set it up so we can talk or whatever. Oh, here you go. Hello.
What's up?
What's going on, my brother?
What's up? What's going on? Hey, what's the lady's name who was just speaking?
That's my sister Tatiana. She right there in the chat.
Yeah, look, I put my email in the chat, Tatiana, when you was talking about saving the money. Me and a couple, we started that. What I did was, my number I used was bigger. Can I go ahead and say what it is on your show?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, do your thing.
So what I said was, if we could get 20, I use 20,000 people. That'd be hard. But at $5 a month, that's 20,000 people at $5 a month. That's $100,000 a month. 1.2 million a year. So what I said was, National Credit Union Association, it take $1 million cash or assets to get a credit union. But if you have your money we keep our money in a black-owned bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now it's small, but it's growing. And I've already shown some of the things that I've accomplished with it. Today was just, some people might say it's small, but you got to show the small you have, because ain't no accomplishment small. So I showed the one lady who started her, Erica Howard, who started her baking business, right? She started baking.
Yeah, I saw her.
She needed help with her.
I saw her Oreo cake.
And some of her supplies. And how she called me, look, this is what I need. And how we were able to get the business card and the supplies for her. So what you're saying sounds good. And yeah, BakariPromise@gmail.com is my email. I would love to talk to you because it needs to get bigger, and maybe that's something that we can talk about and we can discuss. We can see if we can get more people involved. If you understood what I was saying, if you send me, like if you email me, I email to you what I wrote down in my plan and everything. But what you were saying, that's why I called back. So I called earlier because I want you to know you ain't the only one on that talking about sacrifices and what do we have to sacrifice. And what are we going to sacrifice, and how we have to sacrifice to get the things that we want, and how we can help businesses, and how we can create more business, the exact same thing that you said. So I just wanted to tell you that. Forecast got my information if you're interested. That's why I called back in. If you're interested and want to know more about it, and we can chop it up, Forecast got my information. He got my phone number, he got my email, he got everything. Thank you, Forecast.
Yeah, absolutely, my brother. Thanks for calling back, bro.
All right, peace.
All right. Yeah, definitely. And, like that's along the lines of like that solution that I always say, we can take the most successful Black business people, and it doesn't have to be that. We see people taking it into their own hands, and that's why I'm proud of, my sister, my brother. I'm proud of all of us. That's why I have so much faith in the people and our people. All couldn't do this, right? And all you had to do was create a committee strictly to fund and help grow Black businesses, right? And in turn, we can put those businesses in our neighborhoods to hire us, right? And we'll be spending that money within our own community, right? And that goes back to the whole Black farmers thing, and because that's why it's important that we are in control of our own businesses, like our own food, our own this, our own that. Even like channels like YouTube, and I'm gonna keep blasting it on YouTube, and I'm gonna say whatever I gotta say, because they're going to do what they're going to do anyway, right? And they're going to hide channels like ours to make sure that they aren't seen. They're going to not send notifications. They're going to unsubscribe people. They're going to hide how many people are watching, right? Because they have to keep you in that mindset. But it's like my brother said, it's like my sister said, what are you willing to sacrifice to get where you want to get? Because one thing I learned about my life, right? The more that you ask for, the more that you want to get, the more that you have to sacrifice. So what are you willing to sacrifice to get your freedom? What are you willing to sacrifice for your self-autonomy? See, you got that whole mindset of fear that has been beaten into you. And going back to the topic, that's why you have people like the people who are in certain positions. They are in those positions for a certain reason, right? Like the Senator Tim Scott, right, who is against everything Black. But I dare him to say he's against something for any other group other than Black. And this is a Black senator. See, they're going to put those certain people in certain positions, right? And that's why you have people on TV, on media streams, still pushing certain candidates for president, still pushing certain ideas. Because they believe them doing that is going to help themselves. But in reality, right, you don't know if yourself get pulled over by somebody who don't know who you are. They don't care how much money you got. Especially, it's even worse because if you're driving a nice car Who is this nigga in the nice car? How this nigga got a piano in his house and I don't? Right? How do you think most of those race riots started? Because they was hating on you. They was hating on who you are. See, we internalize that hate and we start hating ourselves, picking up their energy. But see, they know who you are. That's why they hate you. They hate you because they not you. And see, they can get on TV and bash certain certain groups of people because there is no protection. Right? They're not on TV every year. Darko Milicic was a bust. Darko Milicic was the worst player ever. See, they're not going to do that to other groups because other groups say, put respect on my name. But see, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice pieces of paper with people that would have killed you on them? Right? Because those little pieces of paper is not worth that land that you're giving up. It's not worth that knowledge in your head that you have. But see, it's a psychopath job to get you to believe that it is. And they're good at their game, but they're not that creative. See, what do they have to do? Control the program and control what you see. And now you look at your brother like, oh, I hope he don't rob me. You look at your sister like, I'm not going to protect her because she's this, because she's that. So you speaking death into your own self when you look at people that look like you the same way. But you look at the people who murder you, have a history of that, and you wouldn't dare speak out. See, we don't look at it as speaking death upon yourself, but you speaking death on your own self. There's nothing wrong with speaking life to yourself. You don't got to apologize for saying, I don't want nobody to kill me. And yeah, you have to keep saying the same thing over because that's why they say the same thing over and over and over and over. They say you're a thug. They say you're a killer. They put it in every movie. You get one black superhero, then they flip. It's for a reason. But see, they use all of your tactics, all of your schemes, and that's what a psychopath does. They have nothing. They feel like nothing. White supremacy is an inferiority complex. It's white supremacy because they can tell you where to go to school, what to read, what you can and cannot do. But all that is coming from an inferiority complex. But a psychopath is petty and will always do whatever it takes not to take an L. But are you willing to respond with more urgency than they do? Right? We have no problem going to these Asian, like my brother Bakari said, we have no problem going to these Asian stores, my sister Tatiana, and beauty salons or whatever. But especially when it comes to the food, you think these people care about you? They don't care what they give to you. They don't care what they sell to you. They don't care if it would kill you. These are people who didn't even like you enough not to even want to take your money. Now all of a sudden they care about you. But like Brother Bakari was saying, we'll drive past 100 black stores to get to Walmart, to get to some place that don't want us, and then we'll file a lawsuit to get in that place, not knowing that somebody who hates you probably gonna do something to your food. They could be spitting in your food, right? Throwing it under the stove and putting it on the plate. But you don't look at it that way. See, you hold black people to a higher standard than them. But see, we got to get to a point where we got to understand that does not come from us. That's not our own thoughts. That's looking at life through a white supremacist lens. Yeah, I'll see what's up with the Sunday. I don't know what I can do. See, that's why you look at your brother as less than, right? You hold black business. Oh, these black businesses don't do this. These black businesses don't do that. Let's just ignore the history that especially the huge corporations, they got money off you. They got the money off you, and all of the communities that you built up. Because that was another thing. The oldest survivor from Black Wall Street just testifies, still asking for reparations. That one town alone with all of those millionaires, all of those businesses, and this lady, this woman, 106 years old, still asking for reparations to something that happened to her when she was 6 years old, where her house was taken from her, her whole community was taken from her. And see, the only thing that we got different from them is that illusion of inclusion, right? The hindsight of, the whole integration movement, where we tried to fit in with them, where we tried to go to their schools. You underestimate who your enemy is. And when you don't take precautions and you underestimate, you speaking death into yourself. What's it going to take for you to speak life into yourself? Right? Are you preparing your children for what they got to face? Because we got to prepare them for if they get pulled over by the police. So why are we not preparing them to get in a position where they don't have to worry about that no more? We tell them, oh, don't move, don't do this. But we don't teach them self-defense. Because we sit there and apologize and say, oh, well, not all white people is bad. It don't matter. Because it's not about an individual person. It's about a whole system designed to keep us in the position that we in. And if it wasn't a whole system designed to be that way, you wouldn't have people like Barack Obama coming out 5 years later talking about black people deserve reparations. Because you're really powerless. And the only reason that you're powerless is because you've adopted this individual European mindset instead of a community mindset. Oh yeah, it's all good, Shanique. That's the reason why it's a problem. We see our brothers as if he's somehow different than us when a cop will pull up and we could be fighting each other over a block and a cop will pull up and run us both off the block and see us both the same. Call you a gang, but they got the biggest gang in history. Tell you you don't deserve something, but they feel like they deserve everything. You get one thing, then you're being racist. And we sit right there and say, I don't want to be racist. Oh, we have to do this for everybody, people of color. It don't matter about no people of color. You can't help nobody if you can't help yourself. If you ain't speaking life into yourself, how you gonna speak life into somebody else? And especially if that's somebody else speaking death into you. See, we don't realize how sick these people are and how much other cultures have brought into their societies. How little respect they have for us because they know there is no consequences for their actions. And consequences are, we're not allowing this business in our community. We're not allowing somebody to come and violate my rights because I can just get on the phone right now and call 10 other people who will show up with guns and make sure they don't violate my rights. But when we see another brother with a gun, we look at that as a threat, as if we're the European. That's called projection. That's called gaslighting. That whole thing was beaten into you. It's not your thoughts. You are the person they had to come and kidnap to build their empire. You are the person that They always imitate your culture and sell it to everybody else and make money off of it. But tell you that you're this thug, like the brother Pelez said earlier. How are you gonna be a thug when you can't even control your own home? Somebody else can run up in your house and violate your children, your wife, your mom, your dad. You put your family, something happens, we got to go to their institutions, right? And we have all of these records where, how they treat black women, how they treat black men. Well, we got to pray that when something happens to our loved ones, that they treat them right. Instead of building your own institutions. Like, it's that hard. It's been done. We don't got to reinvent the wheel. But we keep thinking that we do. That powerlessness, because an abuser always makes the person they're abusing feel powerless. But when reality is the victim that is powerful and they can stop it at any single time that they want. But you see, when Europeans don't want Trump to get out of office, they'll storm the Capitol, murder everybody. They don't even want to. They don't even want to face consequences. They even support them. You see, when America was being built, they didn't want to be taxed. So they went to war. They dumped all the tea in the harbor and went to war. When George Floyd was killed, we held the camera, we cried, we celebrated because there's quote unquote justice. But when Trayvon Martin was killed, there was no justice and we did nothing. When Emmett Till was killed, there was no justice and we did nothing. And we still have the same press conferences that Emmett Till mom had. We still having those same press conferences. But that crying, begging, marching, saying no justice, no peace, but we're the most peaceful and get the least justice. You're speaking death into your own self. But when you say that's enough, I've had enough, no more Trayvon Martins, no more Breonna Taylors, right? Name it, no more. We've had so many casualties, we can't have no more. And the brother said earlier, I don't see how we can get so many people on code to get to where we need to be. See, that's why you have to start controlling the minds of your children. See, they understood it was easier to make a slave out of a child than a grown person. But we trying to make grown people change who they are. Can't change who your parents is. But you can stop that trauma with you and pass on some better stuff to the next generation. Got to understand, the system wasn't built overnight. And our goal is to completely dismantle and break the system down. But I want you to understand, and this is why you have to get the fear out of your heart. A psychopath is petty, childish, and they hate taking the L, and they'll always make you pay. They say, go back to Africa, go back to Africa. But if you went back to Africa for real, they'd be over there in a few years to try to kidnap you again. Believe that. If you try to build your own land on this land, they will surround you, right? The last woman who died from the Rosewood massacre said, if you ever had land of your own, don't do it around white people because they may do to you what they did to us. And best believe that they will. It's not something that can be reasoned with. It's a mental illness. Or for sure, Tatiana. But it's a mental illness. can't reason with it. You can't talk to it. It has no empathy for you. And you have no choice but to defend yourself, because we have to have our own self autonomy. But believe me, when you start practicing that, they are coming. That's why it's important to learn how to defend yourself. Teach your children how to defend yourself, how to break generational curses so you're not passing that down to your children. Learn how to deal with our trauma in our community. As Black men, be able to talk to each other about our issues and not be ashamed. And the same thing with Black women and interacting with each other. That's speaking power. That's speaking power to life. When you start coming to a mutual middle ground to where we can start building our families, that's building power to life. That's putting power to life. Whatever. But it takes one step at a time. But at the end of the day, we are all we got. And I definitely appreciate all of y'all for listening. Um and try to get a live Sunday. We'll see what we can do, man. But I appreciate y'all for listening and letting me vent or whatever. All the people that be hitting me up saying, they missed the old videos. I still make them. I just put them on the backup channel. You got to go there to subscribe to Forecast Radio 24. That's where all the regular videos, because YouTube is going to shadow ban us, and that's another, that's just another example. How much more proof do we need? How many more of our children, of our elderly, do we have to see in these situations? How many generations do we have to go without being able to pass down our wealth? When is enough going to be enough? Because as soon as you stop speaking death on yourself and start speaking life, then it's automatically over. They can only define themselves by how you define yourself. You are the one with the power. You're not the one with the superiority complex. They need you to define who they are. And that tells you, and they tell you every single day, it's time to stop the disrespect. And you stop it with stop disrespecting yourself first. Understand that you deserve justice. You deserve self-autonomy. You deserve to love yourself. Right? We deserve to get all of this mental health out of our community. And most importantly, we have to destroy this psychopathic, corrupt system instead of trying to be a part of it. You can never be a part of it. It was never designed for you to be that way. But, anyway, man, I appreciate all of y'all for listening. And there's no telling how many people is listening. If you interested in the Brother Bakari channel, go subscribe to him. You interested in my sister Tatiana Plan, you can email me or go to her channel and subscribe. Yeah, I'll definitely be back. I don't know how it's gonna work out from in the next couple weeks, but either way, I'm gonna find a way to keep it pushing. And I appreciate my sister Tatiana for calling in, my brother Bakari, my brother Pelej, and I definitely appreciate the love too, my brother Pelej. Shout out to my sister Wanda Chavis. She always holds it down, man. Shouts out to her. And again, subscribe to the backup channel for the regular videos. I'm gonna try to get back to work on it. It's just kind of hard because y'all gotta understand these videos is hard to make. It's so much negative energy. It's so much trauma in these videos, right? And sometimes they be hard to finished. So, but the next one will be up soon. So make sure y'all subscribe to that. I'm gonna try to come back and holler at y'all tomorrow. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we can keep falling for anything.